Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to talk about anonymous inner classes. Let's create a new class. Out insert Java class anonymous inner classes test 0. Let's forget the inner, too big. Okay, so when should we use anonymous classes? Basically when you only have the use for that class at one specific point in your code. Let's give one example. Let's say that we have a class animal, right? And this class animal will have one method, public void walk, and animal walking. Now we have the behavior of walk. If we call here animal, we will have animal walking. Pretty straightforward, but remember, sometimes we want to change the behavior. Let's say that we want another class. We would like, for example, a dog. Dog is an animal, and since dog is an animal, we can press Ctrl O and override the walk. Basically, we have here now dog walking. And if we change from animal to dog, you will, because of polymorphism, have dog walking. Now imagine that you want to change the behavior of walk, but only at this specific point in time. Let's say that you don't want to create another class because it's not going to be used anywhere else, only here in this code. So let's go back to animal. Now, to create a inner and anonymous class, you basically add, if you are working with regular class, by regular I mean no interface, you just add the curly braces. And this now means that you are creating a anonymous class that has no name, and this class is a subclass of animal. How do I know that? If I press Ctrl O, I can see the same walk. And then we can add here salt. Something is walking. Now I don't know what kind of class is this. There is no name. I don't know if it's a dog or if it's a cat. Basically, the only thing that I know is that this is a subclass of animal. And now this animal, this reference variable, is having a reference to this subclass. So this object created is a subclass of animal. And now animal.walk, the same way it did for dog, will show something is walking. And since this is a subclass, remember, even if you create another method, it will be completely useless from the reference variable standing point. Why is that? Because there is no jump in animal. So I will never be able to call animal.jump. And I cannot create a reference variable for this type because I don't know what type is this. So basically I'm creating this anonymous class only for this specific purpose. I cannot reuse it anywhere else. And this is how we create an anonymous class. Now, talking about a more real example, let's create another class. Let's call it anonymous test classes test 02. Now, in the previous generics package, we have both. Let's create here a list of both. I'll enter bolts. I'm going to use a list of because this is going to give you an exception. Let's use car, not bolt. It's easier. So cars, new car. Let's say that we have Volvo and new car, Audi. Now, if we want to sort this list, we have a couple options. You remember that we have to either have this car implement comparable, or we have to create a comparator. So basically, you can create here class car title comparator implements comparator for car package the generics, implement methods compare, return. I think we have to create a getter. Yeah, we have to create a getter inside the car. So Control B, you go to the class. So Alt insert getter name. So return o1 dot get name dot compare o2 dot get name. Okay, so now that we have a comparator, what we were doing before, basically we just call cars. We have two options: either call collections dot sort and you pass the list and then the comparator, or you call the list itself dot sort and then you pass new comparator, the new car title comparator. Okay, so this will fail. Why is that? Because the list created like this is immutable. As you can see, pretty weird error, I think, and you believe that the error would be because of the sort, but it's because of the list. Now let's just add here new array list, and we pass this guy in the constructor, and now we have a list that can be modified. Okay, so let's print the list, otherwise pretty difficult to figure out if it worked or not. There you go. So we have Audi and Volvo, and we were creating with Volvo and Audi. So the sort is working, but the car title comparator is only being used here. There is no other reason for us having this externally from the class itself. In cases like this, you can use a anonymous class. So what is a anonymous class in the case of an interface? Basically, you will create new, and as I said, we couldn't create object direct from the interface, but here, when I pass new comparator car, I can instantiate if I'm using anonymous class. Now we have this error right here because we have to provide, if you press Alt Enter, the implementation for the compare, and take a look. Exactly the same thing as we have here. The only difference is that we are using new. So now this sort, we are creating a class, an object that is a comparator, and we are passing this directly to the sort. So basically, I will never be able to use this comparator somewhere else. It's only for this sort. And I can do the same thing as we did here. Now, when I execute again, Ctrl Shift F10, you will get exactly the same results. So this is the only case where you can actually use new with interfaces is when you're creating a anonymous class. So this class is a comparator like we have with car title comparator, but there is no name, and we are using directly here at the sort method. Now there is another syntax we can use. We are going to talk about Lambda Expressions. Basically, it's doing the same thing. So you have these two options. You still have another option, but this is not using an anonymous class anymore. It's just using the new functionality comparator.comparing. But let's stop here because here is still an anonymous class. But we are going to talk about Lambda Expressions in feature classes. Right now, I just want you to understand that when you create an anonymous class, they cannot be reused anywhere, and the syntax for creating them. So basically, that's it for the anonymous class. I hope you enjoyed. Let's continue with more topics in the next video. Bye.